All right. I'm not having a great week this week. I have been exerting some effort toward painting characters in environments, and I did paint an environment. I didn't get the character into it for the time lapse this week, and there's no good reason for that. I just kind of like dropped the ball on it pretty much. That was all, and and that has delayed the time lapse for the first time since I started them, and I'm not happy about that because that means I'm going to have to finish the time lapse tomorrow and probably get it updated on Monday. But I pride myself on always having shown up, and that's the first time lapse that I haven't shown up for, and it's only been like a month and a half of doing time lapses. And I mean, I do have something that I can time lapse and say this is the thing that I did, but I'm not happy with it. It's not the thing that I wanted to do, and there's just so much more work that needs to be done on it, and I ran out of time. So that was very frustrating because I wanted to do the time lapse, and I wanted to get it up there, and I wanted it to accomplish the thing that I'm trying to accomplish, and just go, yay, I did the thing, and I didn't do the thing. Like I didn't do the thing at all. So I'm not very happy about that. And I still need to put the character into the painting, and putting the character into the painting, I know where I want the character, but I'm not sure whether that's a good place, and I'm not entirely happy with the composition, because I really didn't put a whole lot of time and thought and effort into planning on this piece. And I need to put more time into that. That's one of the things that I have historically not been good at doing is planning out the piece and getting the plan together and really understanding what the plan is and how I'm going to implement the plan. And I'm not happy with. I'm really not happy with anything I did in this piece. I'm not at a place where I feel that what I did was good, and I need to put a lot of detail into this painting that I haven't got there yet, and like I screwed up a bunch of stuff. Like I tried to hand letter a sign, and I feel like it looks like crap. And the important thing here is I'm still going to finish the piece. I'm still going to put the character in the environment. And one of the things I'm nervous about is I'm trying to put the character into a similar dress to the piece I was doing with Chio, but not quite as elaborate. And there's a street light in this painting that is not as elaborate as the street light I want to do in the picture of Chio, but it is similar, and it's kind of a midway step on the journey to getting that picture finished. And I think that picture is going to be really cool, and I would really like to have that picture finished, but the time commitment is always more than I think it's going to be. And time keeps getting away from me. I keep having to do other shit. And not having time left to put into my art when I should have time left to put into my art. And I need to put more time into that. I spent too much time fucking around this week. Although some of it is me getting ready for Shattered Space. That is definitely something that I'm investing time towards, and that's being done on purpose. But I thought I would put more time into the art in the middle of getting ready for Shattered Space, which I'm getting ready for it by playing Starfield and getting to a point where I'm currently at the end of my latest NG Plus run, so I can go into the Unity at any time, but I haven't gone into it yet. And because I haven't gone into it yet, I am toward the end game there. And if there's something that I can do at this point in the game, then I can play the Shattered Space expansion from here. But if I have to restart, if I have to go into the Unity and start in a new universe where Shattered Space is going on, then I can do that too. That's what I'm kind of trying to queue up here. But yeah, I didn't spend enough time on my art this week. I should have spent more time on it, and I didn't, and I don't really know why. I'm just kind of holding myself accountable here and going, yeah, I didn't invest the time that I should have invested, which will happen sometimes. That is a thing that will definitely happen. I do want to talk a little about the in-progress work, about what it looks like so far, and what I was planning. And I feel like the environment isn't exactly terrible. And what I've got here is I've got a little storefront, and I tried to do a sort of a boarded up window and a door, but I don't think I did a very good job of those. I feel like those need to be redone. Those are based on the same basic concept of what I did for the schoolhouse, which was, if I were to create a new image here, what I did for the schoolhouse was I had this kind of pale yellow color. I just painted the area that whole pale yellow color. This is kind of too pale. Should be a little creamier. Maybe down there, yeah. Something like that. That's too green. Let's go that way. A little more in an orange direction. A little more. Okay, it's not working because I'm not working on a full color. There, yeah, that's the issue there. It's coming out too green. That's because I was painting on a green layer. What was going on there? Okay, so I started with this kind of creamy yellow, and I just painted this field, and then from there, I took my standard horsehair brush, which is size mapped to pressure, and I got myself a fairly dark brown like this, and I set that down to a nice low level, and I just kind of put lines going across, like these are the borders between slats. Now, I was working from a still shot from the anime Another, and what I noticed was in between these slats, all they had was a bunch of very fine lines kind of indicating where the paint was cracked and peeling and weathered. They're very long and they're very thin and they're very light. So I just kind of did that to produce a sort of this sort of weathered look. And because I'm working very lightly, the variation in stroke pressure is just kind of automatically creating this chaotic look. And that's what I tried to do over here on the environment that I put together, but I don't think it came across very well, and I'm not sure what I should do to fix that. And one of the things I'm thinking about is instead of using a very light creamy color, I should use a fairly bold dark brown, kind of a bold dark wood. And then I should hue shift toward red and do a kind of a lighter reddish brown, like that. Maybe a little lighter than maybe that. No, let's take our value up a little more. Maybe there. Yeah, that looks about right. If I were to do kind of... Oh, that's too bright. Take that down a bit more. And then if I do the kind of other striping, how does that come across? How does that look? I don't like it. I don't feel like it looks like anything. It doesn't really look like... Well, light on dark, you frequently have to go bolder, and yeah. A little more saturated, a little more orange. Maybe if I worked with something like that. No, I'm not happy with that either. Don't know how to do a darker wood. What if we start with a fairly bright, kind of a cherry wood sort of finish? I'm just working my way through this in real time. This will give you a kind of window into my process, how I work this stuff out. And I don't know, some people may enjoy this, and some people may learn something from it. Now, if I start from that, and then I drop down to a thinner line and go there, how's that? I don't think that's right. I think I need to go substantially darker. I think that is what I want to do. I think I want to go more saturated and darker, and then let's that down. Okay, yeah. I think that is doing a fairly decent job. That kind of looks like weathered wood. Looks enough like weathered wood from a distance. I wonder if that would look better in the environment painting. Let's give that a shot. I have done the unforgivable here, and I have made my entire piece on a single layer. Let's try using this darker color. drag that up there, and then we'll, here's a fun thing. We've got this thing called enclose and fill. It is like a lasso tool that you use around the area you want to fill. And hey presto, there you go. So now let's go from this. Let's use that darker color, and we'll go back to our horsehair brush, which needs to be really small. Let's do our slats like so. Now these layers are inheriting the clip to layer below property from the layers above them, but it doesn't actually matter because the entire layer below is filled. So what if I feather across like that? What I try to do is I try to do a whole lot of lines going from one side and then a bunch going from the other side, and then I just kind of scrub back and forth. Okay, so how does that end up looking? I actually like that. I think that looks much better. And let's now carve through this. A layer underneath. Like so. Just erasing that. And then we'll duck over to that layer. And we'll fix that little bit right there. I do kind of like that better. I like the darker wood. And I may want to do that with the door too. Now I've done all of this on one layer because I was lazy and thought it would be faster and easier. No, it's not even really that. I did it all in one layer because it was just, I was thinking about the next thing that I wanted to do. It didn't occur to me to make new layers. Which is not like me, but, you know, I did what I could. I did, you know, I did build the environment. I did put it together. And that's not terrible. And I did try to, I record time-lapse on everything I do now. So I always have export time-lapse available. And this would have come out to be, about a minute and a half before, and now it would have come out to be about a minute and, well, about 2 minutes, it looks like. Minute 48, minute 49, something like that. But yeah, I kind of prep everything to be a time lapse now, because you never know what's going to turn out well, and then you'll want to have a time lapse of it. want to do some stuff where I want to do some stuff where I have the camera set up to actually record the process and get me in the process of painting. But I haven't gotten around to doing that yet. And I don't think it matters right now because my work isn't really good enough for that. And I want to clarify, when I say my work's not good enough, number one, I'm not performing at the quality that I want to be performing. But number two, and perhaps most importantly, I'm not performing at a level that other people want to watch. You know, the primary draw to this channel is not so much watching me draw as hearing me talk about what you're watching me draw. Because that's the part that I'm good at, is talking about it and thinking about it. Now, to spend a little bit of time here, the sidewalk I've done absolutely nothing to, is just flat color. Okay, flat color for the sidewalk, flat color for the curb, flat color for the street. I haven't done any shading on the lamppost. I think the lamppost came out okay. I think it looks pretty good. And then this brick wall over here, I've shown the technique before. I've shown the technique where you begin with like the color of the mortar. And once you've got the color of the mortar, you just take your dry gouache and you grab an appropriate color for brick, and you get a proper size brush, and you just do your bricks. After you do one row of bricks, you come down and you do the next row of bricks. And it's really not as tedious as you would think, because you're just kind of doing a single stroke for the bricks. You're just kind of going, here's where a brick goes. Here's where a brick goes. Here's where a brick goes. And it comes out fairly good. But I don't like the regimented look of it, so I come in and use the blend brush at a fairly large size. And just kind of blur it in. And I'm not 100% happy with the results on that, because I don't know how much I want to blend and how much I want to blur, but I do kind of want it fuzzy and indistinct, and I don't know how well it came out here. I don't know how well it's coming out here. I feel like I'll iterate across that a number of times, and eventually it'll start to look good. Right now it doesn't, and it's one of those, you have to do bad work to do good work things. But by the same token, just doing bad work doesn't get you any closer to doing good work. You have to look at the bad work and go, that's bad. And I know why it's bad. And I know what I'm going to do to make it better. I don't know what I'm going to do to make this better. I feel like maybe what I need to do is go back across the mortar area. Just kind of clean that up. Once it's blurred, just sort of sharpen up those spaces. I'm not sure when this becomes too much effort. Maybe I'm going about this backwards. Maybe instead of maybe instead of painting the mortar, I should paint the brick first. And then I can come in and do the mortar. So I could then pull that down and go back down to, say, 17 there, and grab the mortar color and go, okay, we're going to across that. Maybe individual bricks is the way to do this? I don't know. I feel like individual bricks is kind of overkill. Like, you don't want to do individual bricks on an entire brick wall. How would I go about this that it doesn't look? How would I do a brick wall that actually doesn't look like shit? How would I... I don't know. I feel like both of these have pretty serious detractors. So let's go back to the mortar color with the brick color on top. Let's rough in the general shape of the bricks. And then we'll use a smaller brush to kind of form them up. So what we end up with is, okay, so we'll use a large brush to do the initial brick positions and go, okay, here's the bricks. Then we'll do the next line down, and we'll go right there, you know. Okay, so there's that. And then we'll go to a smaller brush, kind of give it corners. And giving it corners, this is this is less time consuming than drawing every single brick. It still gives every brick its own personality. And And it does end up looking better. I wonder if, do we have a facility on a Clip Studio Paintbrush color jitter? Okay, change brush tip color. Let's, okay, let's put all those back. Randomize by 5. Let's try that. Randomize per stroke. So if I go randomize like that, let's see, that's fairly, because that's fairly close, I can put my desired bricks in the appropriate place. And now they're all slightly different. Okay, so here's what we want to do. We want to duplicate that, and we want to call this jitter gouache. And then we'll come over here, we'll come to our regular dry gouache, and we'll turn off brush tip color and randomize per stroke. We'll leave it on for jitter gouache, but then we'll have the dry gouache copy here, which just uses exactly what we tell it. And then we'll have the jitter gouache, which is a little bit different every time. So now, when you do all of these, you can go back to the dry gouache copy and use a smaller brush, and you can firm it up. But because you sample the brick first, okay, I like this. Oh, I'm liking this very much. But I am thinking that the strength of the jitter is a little high. Change brush tip color, randomize per stroke. Okay, so yeah. No, that's not enough. Okay, so we're going to jitter this. Actually, let's leave luminosity alone. Let's just change hue and luminosity. Yeah. Okay, so see how that comes across. Yeah, that works pretty well. Okay, so let's clear all of that. We'll go to our dry gouache and use a fairly large brush. We'll go back to this. Light color here. Yeah, and you can see the dry gouache is not a very performant brush. And let's do our field right here. And now let's try putting these bricks in there. Now let's jump over to our glitter gouache and we'll grab a bricky color and we'll go brick, 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 brick. Okay. Now we'll jump over to our dry gouache. We'll drop the size of the brush down. We'll drop it down to like a 15. And we'll start here. We'll just sample the color. Clean up the corners. Sample the color. Clean up the corners. Sample the color. Clean up the corners. So you can get these areas together. I'm kind of liking this. This is a working technique. I'm not sure how happy I'm going to be with it if I have to do an entire wall of it. We'll see what we got. Yeah, we'll see what's going on with this. Here we've got a space where we want more mortar. That comes across pretty well. Now, what I do want to do with this is I want to kind of take this and I want to go a little bit from it. Actually, if I what I would do is I would put that underneath of a multiply layer. Use the same color. And then this would be our shading with the wall lit from below. Because of course the street light is down here. Street light's over here doing its thing. And using the same color on a multiply layer is actually a really good way to get the shadow color. I mean, it's not accurate, really, but it's not bad. That's a fairly good. That's a fairly good method of doing that. I think that works pretty well for a brick wall. So let's go over that a little bit. We started with the dry gouache brush. I made a copy of that, which in the brush settings, I've used the color jitter to turn on randomized per stroke with 10% hue and saturation, but no luminosity change. I'm going to save those settings as the default for the jitter gouache. And then with the standard dry gouache brush, we just kind of clear that up. So we begin with just the plain, regular mortar color. We just start with the mortar color. And that doesn't have to be textured or anything. You're going to cover most of it up anyway. And once you start with that, you come in with the jitter gouache brush. You choose a bricky texture. And you use a fairly large pen to draw your bricks. And because you're using the jitter gouache, it's changing the color just a little bit with every stroke you make. So your bricks are all going to be slightly different colors, just like real bricks. Then you go back to your standard dry gouache brush and you use that to clean up the outlines. Now, if you actually look at a brick wall, you'll see that the bricks aren't all exactly the same. They're not all exactly the same size, not all exactly the same shape, not all exactly the same color. And that's what we're going for with this, is to simulate that so it looks like a real brick wall and not necessarily like a smooth computer-generated brick wall, which is what you'll get if you use a pattern brush. Using a pattern brush will give you that perfect linear brick wall, which may look good in certain situations, but it does not look real. Okay, so yeah, that's the, I think that is going to be my go-to technique for brick walls. How does that look when you zoom in on it? Fairly good. I mean, it's not great. Huh. Huh. That's not bad. It works. I'll stick with that, I think. Yeah, I'm kind of liking how that looks. And if I come up to a multiply layer, I use the same kind of small brush, and I just go, yeah, this is going to be our shading. Let's do it on the bottom of the bricks this time. So look at how it looks from all the different options. Let's try, what if we do this in the highlight layer? Does it look from there? Yeah. A little bit much, I think, but yeah. I just want to lower the opacity on that and it'll look okay. I don't know. I'll mess around with that a little bit more. But as it is, hey, we're at 45 minutes. It's a fairly long video. So, yeah, let's... I'm going to keep working on this. I'm going to try and get that time lapse out tomorrow or Monday. Because I need to get the character in there, and I already know where the character is going to go and what the pose is. It's going to be Yumi with her Lavender Odango hairstyle, and she's going to have her hand over here on a katana, and I think that's going to look pretty good. I think I'm going to change the door to also be dark wood. And once I get the character in, I'm going to have to start thinking about how to do shadows. Like, clearly the shadow of the character is going to have to come across here. And, yeah. I may need to redo this brick wall, but that's okay. Now this over here, I just kind of did everything manually. I shuffled the, you know what? I feel like that jitter might be a good way to select particular colors. Like, you just kind of do a swatch and then you grab another brush and you sample that color and paint the whole thing in that color. That might be a good way to do variations. I will talk about that more after I've experimented with it. Brick walls are kind of a thing that I'm revisiting a lot lately. So anyway, do the little YouTube dance, like, comment, subscribe, all that happy horse shit. And, okay, bye.